Hello YouTubers, how are you guys doing out there? Okay, so in this video tutorial we are finally going to move ahead and start coding our website banner. So let's have a look what we have done so far. So far we have got our header section coded, which means we have got our logo in place, these icons in place, and this menu system in place. So next thing that we have to code is this banner section of our website, which is also called the hero section of your website. So let's have a look on the browser what we have got done until now. So as you can see here, we have got our header section which contains this logo and the menu system. Let's inspect our element and see if everything is okay. So this is the header wrap element, div id header wrap, which is wrapping our header section. It has got height of 150, which if I hover my mouse over this div id header wrap, it will show you. Since it has got 150 height, so my menu is floating down below this header wrap div, which it shouldn't. This header wrap should in a sense wrap around this whole of the header, including the menu system at the bottom, which it is not doing at the moment. This is because my height which is given to this header wrap element, div id header wrap, is being constrained to 150 pixels. So when I uncheck this 150 height 150, you will see what happens here. This blue section will wrap around this whole of my menu system. So if I uncheck it, you can see now the header wrap div wraps around the whole of my header section. So what we need to do quickly is go into our styles.css on line number 7. So I'll open up my Dreamweaver, and in my files directory section inside of my CSS folder, I'll open this styles.css and go down to line number 7, which is here, and just remove this height from here. Removing this height means that this div, header wrap div, will now be given an automatic height. So whatever content, whatever height the content inside of this div is taking, so will be the height of this header wrap div. Okay, so let's save this document styles.css, save our document index.html as well, and let's refresh our browser again and see if the effects are being taken up now. Yes, my header wrap is now wrapping up around whole of my header section now. Okay, so let's now move ahead and code our this banner section of our website. So first thing we need to be doing is get this image cropped down to be used on the website. So let's do that in our Photoshop. Get inside of this PSD file, zoom it up. To zoom up and down, what shortcut you have to use is press your Alt key on the computer keyboard and then scroll your mouse wheel up. This will zoom in into the PSD, and if you hold your Alt and then scroll down your mouse key, this will basically shrink the PSD down. So I need to zoom in and to make it much clearer to me to see, and select this area that I need to crop. There you go. From here and moving down until this section, I want this image. So now I'll go up into the tools section, menu section in my Photoshop, and then press crop. This gives me the image. I'll press Ctrl D to deselect, and then press Ctrl Alt Shift and S to save. Ctrl Alt Shift S is the shortcut to save document, and I'll select JPEG format for this particular image file, and then inside of my alchemy folder And now go on to the desktop, and inside of my root directory alchemy, I'll put it inside of my images file. So I call this image file banner.jpg. This will be saved in my root directory here on desktop in my images folder. So banner is saved. Next thing that we need to do is, let's get back to the PSD by pressing Control Alt Z. You come back to your original section in the PSD from where we cropped this image, and press Control D to deselect, and then you see here. What I need to do next is make a div that will be holding this image called banner, and outside of it I need a border of 1 pixel basically, and this green colored border. So that will be done as we move ahead, but first let's get this image up in the div in our browser there. Okay, so let's go inside of our index.html, and below this header wrap div, I'll just minimize this header wrap code here, and just below it I'll create another div called div id of, let's create a div which will be holding the whole of this content. I want this whole content inside of a div, one div called content. So right from here, banner to down just before this footer section, everything will be placed inside a div called content. I'll create a div called content, and all of these elements will be inside of that div. So let's first create that div. I'll create a div called content, and this div here, and then put a remark for myself, end of content, div. So I actually know where this div is ending. Div id content ends here. Next thing I want to do is I want to get inside my style sheet, and in here I would create a div called content, div id. I'll call this div id content, and I'll give it a width of 960 pixel, width 960 pixels, and I'll not give any height, which means that it will take up automatic heights according to the content that is inside of this div. So next thing I'll do is center this div on our screen. So to center this div on your screen, the style that we put in is margin of 0 pixel auto. This styles basically means that your margin is 0 pixel. 0 pixel means left and right margin, no, top bottom margins are 0 pixel, and auto means your left and right margins, which is being set to automatic, which means that whatever the screen size you are viewing your this website in, it will be centered according to that. So at the moment you won't see anything on the screen if you refresh your browser, because there is nothing inside of that content div that we just created. But inside of your inspect element, here you can see that this div has been created, and it has been given the style. But something shows me that my margin is incorrect syntax, margin, which it should be, because I have spelled it wrong. So I'll go inside of my styles.css again, and I'll correct my spelling of the margin, which means margin, margin. Again you are wrong, margin. If you refresh again, it should be okay now. Okay, so next thing I want to do is, inside of this content div, I want to create a div called banner to hold my banner image. I'll create a div, give it an ID of banner, end it here, and put comment for myself, end of banner. Okay, so this ends here. Inside of this banner, I can do two things basically. Okay, I'll use the image tag to get my image, banner image in there, inside of this banner image. So to get your image in here, inside of this, use image tag, image source, and the source attribute will link to that banner image inside of your images directory on your root folder. And I'll give an of alternate name to this as banner, and that's it. And our image tag here, and let's refresh our browser again and see if we get the image in there. Yes, there you see it. Our image is right inside of our banner div there, but at the moment you can see it is moved towards the left, and we want it to be centered, and outside of that we want to have a border of 1 pixel green color, just like here inside of our PSD. So let's get ahead and style this thing there. So to do that, I'll go inside of my styles.css section and copy this content style here and then place it there. Inside of content we have got our banner div, and then this is what we have to style, banner div, and give an ID to it by putting hash sign there, which means this is referencing the ID banner. Okay, so let's refresh again and see if our banner style is there. So I want to give it padding of maybe 10 pixel. Let's see what it gives. Yes, giving it a padding of 10 pixel, you can see we have got green color. This green color section you see here, when I hover my mouse on this ID banner, you see this element is wrapped by green color just below here where it says 960 by 378 pixel. So this green colored section is the padding that is being given. I want to increase the padding little bit more, so it is right in the center. So I'll say I give it a padding of maybe 14 pixel padding. Okay, 14 pixel is the padding. And then next thing I'll do is I'll first see what color we want for the border. So this is the color that we want for the border. It's 009966. I'll copy it quickly here and then see here, I'll put border of 1 pixel solid, and color is what we had selected. There you go. You can have a look at this and see this color is being applied. Let's lower down the padding a little bit, make it maybe 10 pixel. I think we will make it 14 pixel for now. And another thing that we have to do is make sure that this border has got radius around its edges, just like we have got here in our PSD. So to do that, we will apply an attribute, style attribute called radius border radius of, let's give it 10 pixels. Yes, that is what we exactly need, 10 pixel border radius. So let's copy these style from here and put it in style.css 59, line number 59 here in our Dreamweaver, line number 59. There you go. Press enter. Okay, so you have got these styles in there. Cool. Another thing that I want to do is I want to create some space between this banner section and this top menu bar. And to do that, I can do two things. I can move this, I can give margin to this banner, or I can move this whole content section down. So instead I'll give margin to this content section. I'll say I'll give margin, I'll increase the top bottom margin of this content to 20 pixel, which moves it down 20 pixel from here. So on style.css in line number 58, I have to write down 20 pixels, line number 58, line number 58, I'll put 20 pixels. Okay, so there is your banner section created here, and in the next tutorial we are going to move ahead with creating some more stuff inside of this website, which you can see here in the PSD. So till then, keep watching my tutorials, and if you have missed out, please check out my other video tutorials that I have created. And here's the link to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/lensus TV. Okay, so until then, take care, have fun.